what the body is signaling me right now. There's discomfort, there's anxiety, there's like this weird, funky energy going on. I gotta stop. And it doesn't have to be a long stop. It's literally you just even getting up from your seat and walking 3 steps forward and coming back 3 steps. It's helped me, you know.
Yeah, no, that's good. I appreciate that, and yeah, it's all about pausing and taking that time. If you're just joining us live, love to hear from you. If you have any questions, feel free to post it below. I mean, if you're catching this on the replay, just send us a message. We'd love to hear from you. And obviously, if you have any questions, you could reach out directly to me via social media at TBLcast or email me, edwin@thebusinessleadership.com. Always love getting any questions, thoughts, comments, or even feedback on this live Facebook live show that we're doing right now. And I know, being my second one, I feel like I'm already having some technical issues, Neelam, but
Fine.
at least we get to do it together, right?
True, true. This will be a story for the future when I meet you in person.
Yeah, exactly, right? Exactly. This will be like, remember that time?
Yeah. And you're doing it at a perfect time because it's almost like 1:15ish a.m. in India.
Yeah.
And so it's quiet right now. If we did this in the morning,
Yeah.
guaranteed, like I would have to put the earphones on.
Yeah, no, for sure, for sure. I know you wrote some things in terms of different topics. Is there anything that you wanted to bring up when it comes to that, whether it's legacy, spirituality? I know you talk about a number of things from your TEDx.
So I would say to anybody who's listening to this, right, the people who, at least I know in my community, I just shared it to my page as well. There's a mix of people who are either business owners, entrepreneurs of different kinds, and people who are looking to find a way to create their own presence in the world. I'll just say to everybody, whatever stage you're in, ask the difficult questions,
Mm-hmm.
and have the courage to be different, not for the sake of being different, but sort of know if you really have the audacity to do that, there is somebody out there who needs to hear your story. And it could be your story and someone's life being changed, and you're the missing link. I was just listening to a Bradley Cooper interview with Oprah.
Yeah.
And he told, do you know the one I'm talking about? It just got released. It's really worth the watch. And he said something to Oprah, and he says, when I was X years old, there would be all these shows on telly, and then by the time your show came on, it was such a breath of fresh air because no one was doing what you were doing back then. No one was being as vulnerable back then and whatnot. And he's like, you actually changed my life. Now, Oprah didn't know that she was influencing someone by just being herself, right?
Right.
So we just don't know. We don't know who is going to be affected by our story. We don't know who is going to have an aha moment. We don't know whose life might get changed because of something we are or we said, both negative and positive, right? So I'd rather be on the positive side of the swing than the negative. But the good in us should shine. And God knows that we need that right now, right? The planet needs it.
No, 100%. I was actually saying this to someone, Neelam, and maybe you could relate. Sometimes it takes us a while as entrepreneurs or business leaders to understand what some of our gifts are, and maybe our gifts, me being a podcaster now, and it took me a long time to understand what I was doing, was, yes, telling my story, but also bringing other people's stories to front and learning from it and sharing that type of thing. So, your gift is the story. It could be yours, someone else's, but sharing it, right? And really understanding that.
Yes, and it's not a finality. You could wake up tomorrow and you could find another gift about yourself, and another one, and another one, and another one.
Yeah.
So I think people get fixated, right? The title game, like, oh, but I'm this, but I'm that, Like you're stymieing yourself if you think like that. I think we should be open to limitless possibilities and titles and careers in our lifetime, because that's what I suppose living is about, I think.
Exactly, exactly. No, this is great. I'm enjoying this conversation, Neelam, and I like where we're going. I know you're working on a number of things, but on the personal side, I'm curious, and those maybe who might be listening is like, how do you continue to keep your momentum on your big vision or looking forward? Because obviously it's easy to talk about it, but day to day sometimes becomes a struggle. So how do you keep that energy personally for yourself, and any tips?
Well, I am very meticulous in my to-dos, but I'm
Okay.
also very flexible in understanding that something could shift in my day where I just decided I needed like a 2 hour nap. And I'm not a napping type of person, but sometimes it happens. Because I've had a late call, for example, like today. So I don't
Hmm.
put myself through this mind where my body's saying, like, yo, you can't do this. You're just taking 3 hours to do something that takes 20 minutes. And I'd rather take the 3 hours off and sleep
Hmm.
and then come back to something, right? I try to be very, the part I'm very stringent about, though, that all being said, is that I keep 3 to 4 big priorities in my week, which is my impact level work, which would just mean that if I was thinking of creating something specific for some of my clients, like the big stuff, I work on that with a very, disciplinic, monk-like tenacity, if you will.
Yeah.
And that is not negotiable. So I know I plan my week out on Saturdays and Sundays, primarily on Sundays, so I can look at the full view of what's happening. And I constantly, well, constantly is not the right word, but every few weeks at least, I look at my sheet of where I want to go this year and what work I want to do this year and the types of people I want to help and the reach, the audiences I want to be able to communicate with. So I try to keep going, kind of just reminding myself time and time again, like, hey, listen, this is sort of like the framework of the direction we're going in. They're not exactly goals,
Yeah.
just what I like, experience sets I want to have, adventures I want to go on, things like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Um, yeah, so I try to keep myself with my work. I try to stay on top that way because traveling is insane, as you can imagine, and but I enjoy it. Like I know where it's coming, and I found a way to stay on top of things. To be quite honest, and I try to be gracious and kind to myself when I feel like, okay, I can't push any further. So I'm comfortable saying no
Hmm.
quite often.
Oh, very good. I wonder, and this is maybe more on the selfish side, because I'm similar like you, and I do a lot of planning. I know what I want to do during the week. My calendar is set. I know when you set your time to meet with me, that was a couple of weeks ago, right? So I don't even know sometimes what my week is until Sunday, and but how do you? I mean, I get opportunities, I get calls, things come up out of nowhere. How do you maintain like those things, seemingly, FOMO, fear of missing out, with new opportunities or new relationships that maybe are like, hey, can we get together this week? But when you look at your week, it might be super busy.
I just politely decline. I had someone, this actually happened. A friend of mine wants to talk to me, and I was like, sweetheart, I would love to hear about what's going on, but I unfortunately can't get on a call for at least another 3 weeks. And people who understand, understand, you know.
Right, especially
And
especially when you say it straight up, I guess, and be really. And I'm learning to do that now, Neela. I'm getting a lot better.
yeah,
It's just
I
those
put
who
like
may.
heart
Yeah. I love that. I love that. I mean, it's just a matter of, because it's, of course I struggle with it. Not as much as I used to, but I get people approach me and ask me like, how do you do that? And it's always like refreshing to get a different point of view, how others do it as well. And it's nothing new, right? It's the politely decline and yes, let's get together when our schedules could coordinate, right?
Totally. And I think people, so we have to also remember, right? Certain people know us from certain parts of our life.
Mm-hmm.
So this particular person knows me from a certain part of my life, right? So she's operating still at that level, whereas I might have elevated like 10 times between the time I knew her and now, right? I'm not trying to say superior and inferior. I'm just
No,
saying there's been a big journey I've been through, right?
that's right.
So, yeah, so what usually happens is people's viewpoint of us um, often stays in a certain fixed position, whereas we've moved, right? So the expectation at the other end does not match the movement at yours.
Right,
And
right.
you have to be, yes, and then you have to be very fair to the projects and clients that you have at hand and the things you want to create, because this takes time. Like I have had to say no to social commitments sometimes. And I've had one of my uncles is like, but it's Sunday. I was like, yeah, but I'm working.
Yeah.
And it's not just work. It's not like I'm working for 14 hours. Wake up, meditate, journal, work out, you know? Those are my non-negotiables. They just
Yeah.
are. And people who love you, people who support you, people who get that you're doing something, and you don't mean anything offensive by it. There's a very polite way of saying, and you're in Canada. You guys do such a good job of being polite, anyway. So it's
Well,
be
thank you.
fine.
Well, thank you for that. I can't take credit for all of that. um,
Yes,
if you
no
just
healthy is where I go with that one.
Yeah, no, for sure. If you're just joining us live, talking to Neelam Tewar, and we're just really hashing it out in terms of setting intentions, how to say no, how to protect your non-negotiable times as things get changed and your life changes. We got a couple more minutes left, I guess, Neelam. So if you have any questions, just drop it in there. If it's on the replay, make sure you let us know, tag us, or you could email me, obviously, edwin@thebusinessleadership.com. Neelam, I'd love it if you could share some final thoughts, tips, hacks, or ideally some type of actionable recommendations that you could share with the emerging business leader, entrepreneur, or anyone who may be listening today.
I just say be curious, but have a tipping point to your curiosity. Like curiosity, endless curiosity doesn't lead to action, right? So convert your curiosity into commitment and start taking baby steps. I mean, you have a lifetime, and most of us are going to outlive previous generations and possibly even our retirement funds and savings. Um, it, no age is too late to start something of your own, is what I believe. So take baby steps. Be extremely curious about what lights you up. There are people who are killing it on Instagram, making all kinds of crazy, moolah, just posting pictures of dogs.
That's nuts.
Like, yeah, but there's a story behind it. There's a narrative. There's something that hooks people into the personality of this particular dog, and like they feel like they know him. And the person who's the pet owner is using that space for sponsorships and whatnot, which is great. It's all fine. Monetize what you can. I'm not going to say no to that.
Yes.
But and in his case, I love it because he's making people smile. Dogs are loving, so he's adding some joy to the planet for sure. So like understand what your real currency is. And I don't mean money. Understand your currency in terms of your values, in terms of the impact you want to create, the people you want to help, the things that matter to you the most, and eventually, like, not to sound morbid, but what would you like to be remembered for?
Oh no,
And
that's
that's a
great.
deep question.
I mean,
Scares me too.
no, it's super deep. It's Monday, right? Oh, it's Tuesday where you are right now, but it's Monday, starting Monday with a deep question. I like that. I really appreciate your time, Neelam. Can you share where we could find more information about you, your work, or anything else that you'd like to share with us today?
Sure. So one cool thing I'm doing right now, if someone listening is down for it, I have a class that's starting on the 22nd of February, and I'm teaching everybody who's an entrepreneur who has a decent sized following and is in business, so to speak. So this is for entrepreneurs who are already in existence, or business owners, or authors, or coaches, and they want to sort of get on stages around the world. They want to host workshops around the world. They want to be on TEDx's as well. So this is specifically for those types of people who are ready to go to like that next level in their business. And I'm teaching how to create online and offline strategies so that you don't have to depend on any one in 2019, because technology is shifting, as we know, on Facebook as well. To follow me, I'm pretty much on all social media except Twitter. So you can find me on Facebook and Instagram. I just can't do all of it.
No Twitter?
Hashtag no FOMO in my life. I'm like, I can't.
I like it. I like it. Well, Neelam, it's been an absolute pleasure. As mentioned before we went on air, let's definitely keep in touch. There's other things we could collaborate on. I know you're doing so many things, and I would love to share with everyone some of the other expertise. I mean, you're a world-renowned speaker, a couple of TEDx talks. So we'll definitely love to have you back on the show, Neelam. But thank you for joining us, and we'll talk to you soon.
Thanks, Ed. Bye, everyone.
Bye. This was the Business Leadership Podcast Live. It's a brand new show that I'm trying out. So hope you like it. Love to get some feedbacks, thoughts, or questions of how we can improve. That this episode was with Neelam Tewar. So definitely let us know if you have any questions. But be sure to catch me live. I'm hoping to have my next one on Thursday. I do have someone scheduled, but I'll keep it updated on my social media feed. And last but not least, be sure to check out my latest episode of my podcast with John Roman, where we talk about how he started his foundation and just really giving back. But that's a wrap, everybody. Happy Monday. Have a fantastic week. Edwin, sign.